Hey guys, this is Sean, and I am here with a video. I hope you are doing well. If you like the video, when you are done, please hit the like button, subscribe, and tell a friend about me. And so let's just hit to the topic at hand. So I don't know what I'm going to title this, but I have been watching a lot, and I'm just going to start by saying, of course, I think for those of you who have watched my videos in the past, and I'm driving, so this is going to be a direct upload, but for those of you who have watched my videos in the past, you know I'm a big fan of teachable moments, and a lot has been going on, and I think this is a really great topic for reflection and self-reflection, because a lot of times when I talk about teachable moments, really I'm talking first to myself. I'm not one to, I don't think anybody should take my advice. I don't think anyone should substitute my opinions or anything that what I have to say for their own sound judgment, because you know we may not agree, but I do feel that when things start to come around and come out, it causes to pause. It's a cause for pause. And of course, there's a lot of buzz regarding the death of Kevin Samuels. I was an avid watcher. I used to watch his show uh, quite a bit, mainly for entertainment purposes. I know a lot of people found him very polarizing. He had very shocking things to say. I really tuned in because of the fact that, one, he is in my age bracket, and I was really interested on what he had to say. I was brand new into the area of the manosphere, was not privy to that part of YouTube. So I had stumbled upon some of his old videos, but of course, like many of us, we became introduced to him when a couple of his videos went viral. And then of course he speaks to the men who are my son's age. So I really wanted to hear what he had to say, because this man could be my kid's uncle, you know, surrogate uncle. You know, he's that age group that, you know, could be an uncle, you know, some older gentleman that, you know, my sons or my son's kids could look up to, because my sons are in their 20s, and I have an older son who's in his 30s. So, you know, I wanted to hear what this area of the manosphere is all about. I have one son who's married, but my other two sons are single. And so I wanted to hear what this is all about. And I also have a daughter, and she's in her 20s. And so she is going to be involved with, you know, men who are listening to Kevin Samuels. So I really wanted to hear, you know, who he was about, what he was about. And I watched a lot of his old videos where he, you know, catered to the subject of men and what, you know, helping men, you know, be their best versions of themselves. And then seeing his trajectory as he transformed himself into, you know, the Kevin Samuels who we got to know up to his, I guess what we would say, his untimely death. Because passing away at 57 is young, and so we're going to say untimely death. Now, I'm not going to talk about the specifics about Kevin Samuels, but I am going to talk about the subject about what he embodied as far as feeding and the energy. And I'm going to tie it up, so just kind of bear with me. And I've been on the buzz and listening to how a YouTuber has pretty much seen his transformation and seen how he has gone from being someone who didn't curse, didn't use foul language, didn't want people cursing on his platform, to wilding out and really in many ways transforming into someone, I guess, from someone who seemed to be a religious person to someone who's become very much a worldly person. Okay, I'm just gonna keep it to the cliff notes of that. And I find those two personalities, two sides of the same coin. And I say that because I was listening to Lovely T's podcast, and something was very, very telling about what she was saying. And I saw that what she was saying about with Kevin Samuels and with this other YouTuber. Now, if you watch some of the old videos of Kevin Samuels from 4 years ago was, much thinner, much younger man. There's no way that you would have thought that he was in his 50s 4 years ago. And here you see him up until his death, much gray, a fuller, thicker guy, but very much, in shape for his height, but a very different type of person in the 4 years that he has transformed. Now, we all know that as you get older, myself included, being in my 50s, your body starts to change and things. But I will say that a lot probably had to do with the trajectory of his life. He went from being someone on the YouTube streets for 4 years, going through making a name for himself. But as we all know, he wasn't an overnight sensation. But when there's lightning that strikes, it's like a, quantum leap where your stardom rises and your star rises. And it's astronomical how fast someone will rise in subscribership and all of that. And I think that a lot of that took a toll. And then looking at the YouTuber, seeing his transformation even physically. He's in his early 50s. He's much different physically today than he was several years ago. Is 22, and oddly enough, it's probably about 4 years since he's been on YouTube. And I think a lot of it also has to do with the energy being put out. Now, they say what you think about, you bring about. And I think that in many cases, good, bad, or indifferent, because these are two people who are very polarizing in their own right. They have people who love them, people who do not like them for very different views. I think that their names will spark either a love-hate relationship from various people. And the thing that I've seen about both of the YouTubers that I've just gleaned from seeing a commonality about them is that I don't know either one of them personally. So I'm just going by what I've seen on the screen. But I see a correlation with a lot of what seems to be and I get it. It's very difficult to try to stay true to yourself and make a living when you're trying to be out here. It's almost like you have to have a shtick. Very few people, I think, probably can be themselves, be their authentic self, and not sell themselves out. Do I think Kevin Samuels sold himself out? No, I don't. However, I do think that the brand that he had 4 years ago is not that the brand that he has today, because the vitriol that he had back then, it's not the same. It's not the same energy. The person that was sitting in the car and all of that, it's not the same. And I think that it may have taken a toll on him. I think it may have. One of the things that I said, I think I was on Layla Lynn's page, and obviously time will tell. Through his untimely passing, I think that between his lightning speed fame, he was a hustler. He was striking while the iron was hot. He was doing a lot of traveling. He had a lot of probably irons in the fire, burning the candle at both ends. I think that possibly took a toll on his body. And your health is your wealth. Now, I know he made a point of talking about women and their weight, and I know that is not a comfortable topic to discuss, but Black people specifically need to work on that. Black women specifically need to work on that. Americans specifically need to work on that. I'm not a proponent of hiding the facts that the majority of us are overweight. Was his delivery great? No. But hey, there's someone for everyone. And I don't think that anybody that is overweight or anyone that is that is sensitive should have ever called his channel. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I think unless you was hiding under a rock, you probably already knew what he was going to be serving. Anyway, I digress. But I do think that between all of the traveling that he was doing, all of the traveling he was doing in a short period of time, I think that took a toll. Now, I remember when Nene Leakes, when she was hot and she was doing all of those gigs and she was on Glee, and she was doing Glee and Real Housewives, so she was being bi-coastal, right? So she was traveling Georgia and going to California. She was going back and forth. She ended up developing blood clots. And blood clots, that's a life-threatening situation. If you are traveling and doing a lot of sitting, you can develop thrombosis, which is a form of blood clots. And if they break off in the body and travel, you can have a stroke or you can have a heart attack. And if you have any other underlying preconditions that make you susceptible, that probably doesn't help. He was also a cancer survivor. So, he had a health situation. He survived cancer in his 20s. He was diagnosed with cancer in college. He had to drop out of college because he was diagnosed with cancer, and he survived that. So, that doesn't ever go away. You always have to mind your health. So I'm going to title this "Your Health is Your Wealth," right? So while we're always talking about money and all this stuff, but what about your health? What about your health of your body and your health of your mind and your health of your spirit? What about that? Where does that come into play? Because I have seen what seems to be good people, good channels with good intentions, and I see them get consumed. And they try to play the game, and the game gets played, and they get played. And I see self-destruction, and it's sad. And it's almost like when you hear about people win the lottery, and you hear about things that happen to them, and you hear that, well, no, this person wasn't a jerk. The money just magnified who they really were, right? So it wasn't that they weren't a jerk. It's just that the money gave them access to who they really were. So, it makes you wonder, was this person who came on to the scene, were they always this way, and they have been white knuckling their personality to try to hide who they were, and now they are being who they are? Because if that's the case, right? I'm saying all this to say, many of us wear masks in the world. I think that's a given. We step out of our homes, and we portray and we present to the world a specific mask. But what I'm saying is, when you come on and you are on the YT, don't come in with don't come in and lose yourself. And I just see people losing themselves. I think that's one of the reasons why I don't come on the channel, and that I get unplugged, because I see cautionary tales, and I see people who I liked, and right before my eyes, I don't know if it's the Cash App or it's the money, the AdSense checks, or what. And it changes them. And I don't know if it's changed them or that's who they really were, and we're just seeing them now. But it's just not, it's not fun to watch, because I don't like seeing people self-destruct. I don't want to see that. And I find it sad. And I find it also sad when someone is caught kind of red-handed and they're still going to double down. I'm not understanding what that's all about. But it's not for me to understand. That's not for me to, that's not my cross to bear. No pun intended. But, we all go through things in our lives where we experience a whisper, right? We don't heed to a warning, and then we get caught up in something. And all I'm saying is, take stock in your life and don't get caught up. It may not even be here on YouTube. It might be your job. You might get consumed with, your ego. It's the ego. People are getting caught up in the ego, and all of this is so fleeting. Life is precious, not to be wasted. And I see more and more of people just really just pissing things away, pissing time away. just really just not plugging into the things that really matter, people who matter. And I just want more for other people, but you can't want more for people who don't want more for themselves. And sometimes it takes people to combust in flames for them to get the message. So I see the message. I get the message. Do you get the message? Do you feel like there's a message in the things that you are seeing? Because I am not distracted. I am not distracted. I see a lot. And I'm not, and I'm like, I get it. So I know this seems like it might be a little discombobulated, but there was a message, there was a point. Don't get caught up in your ego with a lot of stuff, because it's here today, gone tomorrow. And, you know, as Narob would always say, the same people you meet on the way up are the same people you meet on the way down. Your car, your house, all this stuff is fleeting. Your car that you think is so great, you know, can be wrecked in a crash. Your house can be consumed in flames. You know, none of that stuff matters. But what about your self-worth? What about the other people in your life that matters, you know? And do they matter? Like, that's what I always think. Like, the people that are important to me, what I do and how I present myself, those things matter. And I want the people who love me, I want them to be proud of me and what I do and how I walk in this earth, because, you know, they're my legacy and I'm their legacy. Those are the things that matter. So don't get caught up in your ego, because your ego will fool you, will make you a fool. All right, so that's all I have. I think I'm going to do a couple of fitness videos. I've been working on my toes to bar. It's still kind of raggedy, but it's improving. So I think I might show that in the next few days, maybe next week or something, show you how I've improved. Well, I haven't done it on camera, so I think I feel a little better about showing my raggedy toes to bar on camera, but it's getting better. So, all right, that's all I have. I might put it up, I might take it down, I don't know. Take care of yourself and each other. You have a wonderful day. I'm enjoying this wonderful hot weather finally. It didn't have to be hot, but it's great here in Northwest Indiana, Chicago. I think the forecast right now is saying that it's 90. I was out on the lake in Indiana enjoying some lake sun yesterday, watching the sunset off the lake. It was beautiful. So I'm going to get some vitamin D therapy. I went to the gym today, and I'm going to go and go for a walk after I make dinner. So I'm going to go and feed my soul with some vitamin D. And go ahead and feed your soul. Too many of y'all been spending time inside being vampires. Y'all gonna get rickets, keep staying inside, always on YouTube. All right, take care of yourself and each other. Talk to you soon. Bye.